NotebookLM is still NotebookLM, but it has a new name. NotebookLM is now called Gemini Notebook, and it's still accessible from your app tray or your waffle. You scroll over there next to your profile picture. I've moved my icons around so Notebook is up at the top, and I'm just going to click that. And you'll see now in the top left that it's now called Gemini Notebook. You'll also find a couple of new tools, one that I really like called collections. We'll take a look at that in just a little bit. If you're new to NotebookLM, basically what it does is it allows you to curate your own resources. That can come from the internet, it can come from your own drive, it can come from your desktop, it can come from a YouTube channel, and then you can use that collection of resources and apply the AI tools to that to create content, to search for information, to prompt and get responses like you would in Gemini, except that the information is coming directly from the sources that you've selected. Let me show you how easy it is to set up. Just go ahead and click Create New Notebook. The interface starts out by asking you what kind of sources or documents do you want to include in the notebook or collection of sources that you're creating. You can simply search for those on the web right here at the top. If you type in whatever you happen to look for, you can be looking for, let's say if I'm looking for AI guidance, documents, K-12. There's a drop-down menu there where I can click web or I can look for my drive. But if I look for the web, I also have an option here to do fast research or deeper research. I'll just stick to the fast research. And then I click the arrow. It's going to search the internet for content that matches my request. So that's one way to bring in content from NotebookLM. You can preview those by clicking on them and viewing them. And when you think you have approved them or you like them, you just click the import button. And these now fill up the pane on the left of your sources. You can go back through these later and delete them. I'm going to show you later how you can turn them on or off, but you can collect quite a few different sources here. I think we go back and forth on this. Minimum 50 up to 100, I think, of different sources that you can put in here and then interact with them by using the search feature down here. You'll see down at the bottom. The other way, what I like best, is to add sources from my existing content. So now that you are in the overall interface of NotebookLM, the Add Sources button now here is up at the top. You just go ahead and click it, and you get that same interface that we had when we first opened things up. If we click Upload Files, that will give us an opportunity to take files from our desktop. If we click the link or websites, that's what we just saw here. So we can paste in a link from a YouTube video or any website that we're looking at. We can bring those in. Or we can get them directly from our drive. So we click there, and remember I'm looking for AI guidance. It's now directly connected to my drive. I click AI guidance, and now I can select some of the things that ABC has made as far as AI use. So every one you click on, you'll notice I'll click the first one. It says there's one selected. And then I'll click our transparency system. Now we have two that are selected. And then maybe I want to click the student AI guidance document. So I've clicked a PDF. I've clicked a document, a couple documents. You could also select a slide deck. Those can all become sources in your notebook. And then you just click Insert. And you can see now that they're being added to our pane here that shows all of our resources. Once they're here, like I said, you can delete them and you can also toggle them off. As you hover over it, you'll see a 3-dot menu. You click that menu and you can remove a source. So some of those ones I selected at the beginning from the internet, I'm going to remove now by clicking the 3-dot menu. I'm just going to delete that. See, as I hover over it, it exposes the 3-dot menu and I can remove the source. You can also deselect them. So now nothing is selected. You'll notice that, I'm going to do that again. Over on the right panel here, these are short action buttons that will actually create content for us. But watch what happens when I deselect. Since there's nothing selected, I can't really make anything if I don't have anything selected. But as soon as I do select it, ABC's guidance, ABC, that content, now I have access to create a number of different resources based on what I have over here. It also serves as a chatbot. So down here at the bottom, I can ask my questions just as I would in Gemini or Claude, except the information that it is going to provide is being drawn directly from the sources that I have selected. I'm going to pause and then I'm going to come back and we're going to try out some of these things that you can create in NotebookLM. But that gives you an overview of how it works and what it does. I'd like to think of NotebookLM as both a warehouse. It's a warehouse of information that you get to curate, that you bring in. It's all right here. And then it also works as a factory. So we have this warehouse, but from this warehouse, we can create and we can make things in our factory over here on the right. When we return, we're going to take a look at the factory side. What we can create with the sources that we have curated or collected. Remember at the beginning I said that Gemini Notebook will also work as a chatbot. So down here at the bottom, you'll see a prompt menu here where I can start typing. So if you look over here on the left, I've selected the ABC Transparency Guidance document, our AI Student Guidance document, and our guidelines for the 2026-2027 school year. And if you had questions about that, for example, if you wanted to know what are the consequences for students who use AI inappropriately, it will comb through those documents and give me a response. You just click the blue button after typing up the question. And it does a little thinking. It's going to keep you apprised of what it's doing. And then here we go. It talks about how at ABC, we want to focus on education and transparency rather than immediate punishment. We want to look for those teachable moments. We want to talk about having a conversation before we make accusations. So all the things that we are proponents of, all of those things that exist in our documents are easily filtered out, and they're going to, when you use Gemini Notebook as a chatbot. So it's not we're not asking a question like this and having Gemini go through the entire internet to find us an answer. It makes more sense for us to look at our own documents when we're asking questions like that. So over on the right, and it's called the studio, is where you're going to find a lot of different opportunities for you to create different things using your curated resources. So you can create audio overviews. Always select the arrow or the caret next to where it says audio overview, or whichever one you select. You can see that there's a little arrow that's on the right. That allows you to specify some details. If you just select it, it will create things based on the default settings, but it's better to give Gemini Notebook some direction. So if we're creating a podcast, we want to keep it brief. This gives us an opportunity to choose from different languages. You can create a critique, a debate, and you can specify the length. You can also have the host of this podcast. It's actually two hosts. It's a conversational podcast that's created when you select that. It almost sounds like NPR. And you can be really specific on what you want it to focus on. And then once you have dialed in all the things you want, you go ahead and click generate. It takes a little bit of time, but it will create an amazing podcast. Think about how this might be valuable for your parents. Maybe they missed open house or back to school night, but you want them to be able to listen to some of the highlights and the programs that exist in your school. You can not only create a podcast, which is really interesting and engaging, but then you can personalize it to all the different languages that might exist on your campus. You can also create a slide deck. It does a beautiful job with slide decks. Same thing, by clicking that arrow, you get a more control. You can do a full detailed deck. This is one that people would be reading on their own. The presenter slide deck is one where you would be speaking as you click through the slides. So you'd be providing most of the detail, and Gemini Notebook would create a slide deck with just some key talking points. Another great one is a video overview. Again, watch as I'm clicking the arrow. I love this one because it gives us some visual styles to select from. And additionally, we get to choose whether we want it to be fully explained or just a little bit shorter. This one's brand new. It created a short little overview. It allows you to focus on certain things in your documents. You can see that Notebook is already picking up what's in the documents that I have selected. And then you can customize it if you want with your own topic. There is a mind map. There are a variety of reports. If you click reports, it picks up, again, it's going to read the documents that we've selected and try to anticipate the types of reports that we might want. Plus, we can always create our own. We can create a briefing document, a study guide, a blog post. But see the suggested things here? They are all based on what we have selected over on the left. You can create flashcards. So for your teachers and for their students, this is a great activity to take content that's maybe test prep content and create flashcards that students can use to review. You can also do the similar thing by creating a quiz, and the quiz can be specified with different difficulty levels, and it's sort of a self-assessment where students will go through the quiz and they can have different opportunities to take it, but this will give them a chance to prepare for any tests. It does a great job with infographics. Again, it gives you an opportunity to select the visual style that you want, the orientation that you want. It really does a nice job. And again, the power of being able to switch to different languages. So those are some of the things that you create. Once they're created, they appear here in this panel under there, and they will stay there the next time you open up your notebook. I'm going to click one because they take a while to generate. I'm going to click the infographic. I'm going to select this anime style, and I'm going to make it concise. I'm going to leave all the other settings alone. I'll stick to English. I'm going to generate, and then we're going to step away, and we're going to come right back and see what it creates. And I've given Gemini Notebook an opportunity to create some content. I want to give a little update about how long it took. So one of the things that I asked Notebook to create was a video short. So if you click on the video overview, remember you have this opportunity now to create a video short. It did it. It's really nice. It's only a minute long, but it took about 15 minutes to create. So just know that if you're using that, you might want to have another tab open and take some other work with you to do, or get up and grab a glass of water, take a walk, and come back. I also had to create a slide deck. So let's just take a quick look, and then I'll show you some of the things that you can do with those. So first, our little video.
We call it the HI plus AI philosophy because with generative tools everywhere,
did a really nice job of creating a video short, and the way that it's oriented, that could be played on an iPad or on a cell phone. But what it did is it took our AI transparency badge system and explained it in a very succinct way for students who could take it away and really understand how our badging system worked.
we call it
I was
the
really happy with how that came out. Go back to the studio now and let's take a look at the slide deck that was created. I want to show you a new feature with the slide deck. So if we click on it and bring it up to the front here, you can see that it is a slide deck. I asked it only to create 5 slides just for the sake of time, but you can see that it picked up some of our images from our slide decks and talks about our AI transparency system. It gave a couple of really solid examples here about how we can translate this type of expectation to younger grade levels. It's coming up with that because I asked for K through 6 slide deck. So what we could use for K through 6 teachers or principals who wanted to emphasize our AI transparency system. It talks about how we protect student privacy, and then a principal's blueprint for digital trust. So this might be something that you could share with your parents who have concerns about how we are using AI at ABC. What I like about the slide decks, this is new that you can revise them. So if I click on this first slide and click the revise button, you can change certain aspects of the slide. So underneath here, you have an opportunity to write and make those changes. And what I like about this is that it will change specific parts of a particular slide, where in the past, if you asked for changes or if you asked it to redo it, a lot of times it would create something completely new and you lose some of those foundational pieces that you might have liked in the previous slide deck. All right, so there you see it. Some of the content that can be created. Now, one of the powerful things in NotebookLM or Gemini Notebook is that you can share this. So if you're a principal, you can share this with your staff by clicking the share button. You can put their names in here. You can copy and paste them in, and you can specify how you want them to interact with your notebook. So I'm going to share this with Mike. And you can see that I can allow Mike to just be a viewer, meaning that he can look at the sources that I have brought in, and he can also look at the content that I have created. But he cannot create his own content, and he cannot manipulate or change or add to the resources that are here. So basically, he is allowed to, I can also allow him to copy it if he wanted it. So he can copy this notebook and then it becomes his own. So that's another control feature. But if I deselect this and I share this with my staff, they will have access to the sources that I select and the content that I have created. Important to know. If you want to make them co-contributors to make a collaborative experience out of a notebook, then you toggle the viewer to editor and then send it out that way. So there are a couple ways to share it. I think this is a really powerful tool, especially for teachers working in their departments, to share content standards, to share their units, their slide decks, their resources, and the content they create, and have them work together to create it. I think it's fantastic. So that's the share feature. Created our notebook, I want to show you how we can create collections. This is a new feature in Gemini Notebook. So if I click over there and I click the Gemini Notebook, you can see all the notebooks that I have created. You can create up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can create 100 notebooks. Once you run out of space, you can create some notebooks in your other domain, or you can delete notebooks you no longer use. But this is a new feature. I've been waiting for this. It's called collections. So just click the button that says collections. You can see the one that we just created. See, it gives you an icon. It has the title here, and you can go in here and rename it if you want, edit the title, or you can also pin it to the top. And then the last thing here is add collection. So you can click it there or up above. Let's click here. And what we can do, since I have not created a collection yet, I'm excited to create my first. I'll say create new, and I'm going to call this the ABCs of AI. And now I can search through my notebook. I can actually search it. Ooh, if I put AI, let's see, then it pulls up all of my AI things, and I can just start collecting AI guidance, AI roadmap, AI rollout, AI literacy, evolution of AI, AI at ABC. Man, I have been doing a lot of AI things. AI utility, responsible AI use, AI literacy, AI roundtable. Wow. You get the idea. And then you just click create. And now I have it in a collection. So if I click the collections button, I should see something there. Aha, I do. 16 notebooks in my ABCs of AI. I love it. Thank you, Gemini Notebook.